Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, and let's actually address the numbers that are flashing on the bottom of the screen. That is Dabur that has come out with its numbers. If you look at the PAT, it's coming at around 349.5 crore rupees as against the ET now poll of around 331 crore rupees. So if you look at the numbers, yes, the numbers are seeing an uptick of about 16% on a year-on-year basis for PAT. But what are the finer details, Vinny, when it comes to Dabur, given the fact that PAT has beaten estimates a tad bit, but what are the other segments saying?
Absolutely. So yes, when you're looking at the numbers right now in terms of Dabur, let's look at the revenue also. Revenue is seen around a 5% growth. We were expecting 6% growth there. In terms of the profits of the company, like you were mentioning as well, 349 crores versus 331, slight bit in terms of a better performance in terms of profit. Margins, clear outperformance coming for the margin front, 16.6% versus what we were expecting was just 15.6%. Also on a year-on-year basis, we have seen a sharp expansion in terms of the margins of the company. So yes, that looks quite interesting. I'm just going to see in terms of, we'll wait out for the press release. That's not yet come in. But in terms of overall, when you look at it in terms of the segment performance, also how overall their consumer business has done. Consumer business also has managed to see a slight bit of a growth. 2,213 crores is what the consumer business is coming at. Food business, also a good growth. These actually flattish is food business, 527 crores versus 521 crores. Retail business managed to see a slight bit of a growth as well. So yes, muted growth a bit in terms of overall when you're looking at it in terms of food business as well as in terms of overall the retail business. But I'm just getting in the number for the quarter. We are seeing the volume growth at 4.2% for the quarter, while for the year ended FY24, the volume growth is coming in at 5.5%. So yes, volume growth coming in at 4.2%. Our expectation was 6%, so a slight bit of a miss, at least we could say in terms of the volume growth for the company. Premium products are now contributing almost 13% in terms of overall Dabur's portfolio for FY24, and yes, that's what we're seeing. Market share gains the company is highlighting in their press release. When they're seeing in terms of the India business, they're seeing some good gains in terms of products and categories that are leading. Market share is 95% of their portfolio. Hair oil managed to see an increase in terms of market share as well. Rural expansion is going well. Oral care has managed to grow 22% during this year as well. So keeping an eye out on that. International business, constant currency growth of 12% for the quarter. Egypt business has seen a very strong growth of 63%. Middle East, that's MENA, has posted a growth of 6.3%. So let's keep an eye out on that. Volume growth number, very important, 4.2% volume growth for the quarter in overall, the quarter gone by, and overall for the year 5.5%, Cheryl. So yes, not a bad number, but volume growth is a slight bit of a mix.
But given the fact that they have the operational updates,
it was very, yes.
It is the stock actually saw a sharp knock on those operational updates. So now if you look at the performance, definitely the street is not that disappointed. And like Vinny said, volume growth is coming at around 4.2%. Important number coming in for the company. But yes, a tad bit lower than expectations is what Vinny has stated for Dabur. But let's move on and let's bring on board Aditya Arora as well as Snehi to take us through all the rest of the stocks that are in focus. Yes, a truncated version of Market Fatafat. So let's try to make it real Fatafat then. Aditya, SRF, how is it looking on the charts to you?
Very good afternoon to you and to everyone. I think SRF is looking good. Chemical sector is coming back in action after a long time. So we saw a dull period for chemical names for a long time. I think SRF is an outperformer with very good fundamentals and very good technicals. I think the chart looks bullish.
All right, so that is SRF for you. Let's talk about PNB Gills, and that particular counter is in focus on back of its numbers. If you look at the profit, it saw a nearly eightfold jump on a year-on-year basis, while the interest income in particular saw an uptick of about 34.6% on a year-on-year basis. And on back of that good set of numbers, the stock really started on a firm footing, but now holding on to good gains, about 2.4% or so, Vinny.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next one that is in focus today. We have Jindal Stainless. That's in focus up there. They have announced a 5,400 crore strategic investment, capacity to expand to 4.2 million tons per annum. Other than that, other announcements, they said 700 crores. They've tied up a 49% partnership in terms of a JV for 1.2 metric tons per annum in terms of stainless steel that they'll be focusing on. Other than that, in terms of Indonesia, also they said that they'll be focusing on 3,350 crores and in Indonesia. I beg your pardon. 700 crores is Indonesia, 3,350 crores is expansion in Odisha, and 1,340 crores is in Gujarat that they'll be focusing on. Analysts believe that this investment is actually quite positive and will address the growth and margin expansion concerns from FY27 onwards. So yes, keeping an eye out on that, we could expect better EBITDA going forward.
Alright, so that is Jindal Stainless that is in focus on back of that particular news. Snehi, which is the next stock that you're going to talk about?
Well, Cheryl, today I'm going to talk about Max Estates, and that stock is up and away in today's trading session, up 16% as we speak, because this is on the back of a strategic investment of 388 crore rupees that they have got from New York Life Insurance Company. This will be used to expand the residential sector and also will keep the company on track for its target of developing at least 2 million square feet of residential spaces every year. So on the back of this news flow, the stock is up and away 16% as we speak.
Alright, Aditya, then let's talk about Petronet LNG. How is this one on the charts?
Petronet LNG looks good. I think we are seeing good action and traction in oil and gas space. We saw good action in HPCL, BPCL. Petronet is following footsteps of the large caps, and I think Petronet is also ready to move up. So this one looks bullish.
Bullish there, Petronet LNG. Let's keep an eye out on that. Next stock on Fatafat, we have India Mart Intermesh. Looking at it, Q4 result continuing to show high churning in terms of paying to suppliers. Overall, when you're looking at it in terms of revenue, 17% revenue growth. Profits managed to see around 78% growth. Margins, a good expansion in terms of margins. 400 basis point approximately is the improvement in terms of the margins of the company. And the company has highlighted in terms of commentary that the net subscriber addition has also bounced back. Collections are growing by 20% and more. So yes, an interesting number, good set of numbers, and they're confident of reaching 30+% growth in the near term. So that's why the stock is buzzing away in trade, up almost 8%.
Right, Snehi, let's talk about Chola then, and why is this one in focus?
Well, Chola focus on the back of its numbers, very good numbers coming in, best ever disbursals, collections and profitability for the company coming in Q4. NI up 34%, PAT is up 24%, disbursement is also up 17%, and NIMs are also looking rather good at 7.8% versus 7.4% sequentially. Asset quality has also largely improved. Now, we interacted with the management earlier in the day today, and they told us that they're targeting a 20 to 25% AUM growth for FY25, and they also plan to raise 10,000 crore from in the form of public debt this year. So on the back of good numbers and very good management outlook also going ahead, stocks doing pretty well, up almost 9% as we speak.
Right, let's talk about VST Tillers. That particular counter has actually snapped a 4-day gaining streak in today's trading session. The company said that the total power tiller and tractor sales for April fell by about 45.9% on a year-on-year basis at around 1,191 units. And this particular decline that the stock saw on an intraday basis, it was biggest percentage loss since December 22nd, 2022. Now the stock is trading lower by about 4%.
Move on to the next one, and Aditya, on the charts, Tata Chemicals, what's this one looking like? Not done pretty much in terms of a return. It's not that great in the last 1 year as well. Should we expect a run up?
Yeah, we should expect a run up because post that news of Tata Group, the stock ran from levels of almost 932 to almost 1320. Post that, stock saw sharp correction. Now after digesting all the fall and building the base for itself, it's ready to propel itself to higher levels. So this one looks good at 1094.35. Stop loss must be 1040 and target would be 1130 to 1150.
Alright, moving on then, let's talk about the Godrej group of companies. Snehi, big announcement over the last 2 days.
Well, absolutely, but instead of talking about the entire pack, let's just focus on one stock as of now, and that's Godrej Properties, and that one has taken a beating in today's trading session. And this is on the back of two reasons. One is the entire 3,000 crore land parcel that the entire Godrej group had in Vikhroli Vikhroli has now been transferred to Godrej and Boyce, which is controlled by the cousins of Adi and Nadir Godrej, and it doesn't fall under Godrej Properties anymore. And the second reason is that there is no non-compete clause when it comes to the real estate business between both of these parties. That being Godrej Properties, which comes under Godrej Industries, and on the other hand, you have Godrej and Boyce as well, which means both of these companies can go ahead and independently carry out the real estate business. And Godrej and Boyce has a slight upper hand over here because of that entire 3,000 crore land parcel that has gone to them. Also, Godrej Properties revenue share has come down from 70% to just 10% in terms of any developments going ahead on the Vikhroli land. So on the back of both of these major reasons, the stock is down almost 5% as we speak.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one and we'll talk about Sona BLW. They reported their numbers. When you look at it, a good set of numbers, beat the analyst expectations. EV segment grew by around 34%. Partial reversal of lost business in Q3 FY24 is what we had seen. Margins have seen an increase, and this is despite the rising freight cost seen during the Red Sea crisis. But as of now, the stock is not doing anything exciting. Subdued in trade. Let's keep an eye out on Sona Comstar BLW, down 2.73% in trade as of now.
Right. Moving on, Aditya, let's talk about BPCL and how is this one looking to you? No doubt this one got impacted along with IOC because of its earnings, but on the charts now, BPCL?
As I was talking a while back that BPCL, HPCL and Petronet, the whole pack is doing pretty well and there's good momentum, good volumes are seen over there. So BPCL is also a bullish candidate. It could be bought at 632.40 and stop loss would be 600 and target would be 660.
So that is the view coming in on BPCL. But with that, like I said, it's a truncated version of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Aditya, for joining in on the show, and also Snehi for taking our viewers through all the stock buzzing in trade. And with that, we say goodbye to this edition of Market Fatafat. Stay tuned, closing trades coming up next.